Death is a part of almost every video game. That's just a fact. From the early days of gaming running right up until today, death and gaming have gone hand in hand. It's just a fact that you will die or kill hundreds of times during the average game, before you reach the credits in almost any game. From the Elder Scrolls to Elden Ring, from Grand Theft Auto to Saints Row, from Tomb Raider to Uncharted, from Resident Evil to Silent Hill, you will have killed probably hundreds if not thousands of people, monsters or animals before finishing even your first playthrough. Along the way, you'll probably have died a few times as well. Yet, while death is everywhere in video games, while playing them at least, this death lacks the finality that makes it so very devastating in real life. But I believe it can be found in at least one aspect of gaming, and ultimately, it's this relationship between death and gaming that I want to examine today. Death is obvious in games like Skyrim or Grand Theft Auto. You're killing or being killed by the enemies within the game. Of course, not all games are created equal, and even in games that try to focus less on the minute-to-minute gameplay, and instead try to emphasise their story, you will still most likely have killed hundreds of people and died at least a dozen times by the time you ever reach the credits. The Last of Us is a fantastic example of this. Both Joel and Ellie, the protagonists of the first and second games respectively, will have gunned down hundreds of random thugs, bandits, raiders, cultists and so on before the story ever reaches its conclusion. Death even creeps into the cozy genre of gaming. Animal Crossing is probably the prime example of the more cozy genre of gaming, and while death is less of a focus here, it's not entirely absent. Timmy and Tommy, for example, are both orphans, having been adopted by Tom Nook. The Able sisters, Label, Sable and Mabel, run the clothing shop in the various Animal Crossing games. If you talk to them enough, eventually they will begin to trust you more. Sable will then open up to you, explaining that the store used to be run by their parents. Sadly, their parents died, leaving Sable and Mabel with no choice but to run the store themselves. This becomes a theme throughout the Animal Crossing series. If you take the time to talk to each of the special characters every day, then you'll start to see that a lot of them have both dealt with grief and death. Then we have games aimed at younger players. Now these games tend to downplay their connection to death and dying. Pokemon is a prime example of this type of game. Defeated Pokemon don't die, they faint, only to quickly be revived at the nearest Poke Center. But even these games cannot escape the shadow of death. During the first generation of Pokemon, and its various remakes over the years, we're able to find Marowak, or at least their ghost, haunting the Pokemon Tower. We're of course able to calm this worried spirit, but it's far from the only story around death in the Pokemon series. In the newest generation, Generation 9, we learn about Ogerpon's former master being killed. During the newest game in the series, Pokemon Legends Z-Way, we're able to help out an older lady who has lost her wedding ring while visiting her husband's grave within the Lumino City graveyard. Without a doubt, while it is downplayed, death is still a vital part of these more family-friendly games. These are just a few games and a few of the examples within them games of how we're able to see death in video games. I have no doubt that anyone watching this video will be able to think of even more examples that I've missed. We have the Talk to Dead spell from Baldur's Gate 3, the digital consciousnesses from Soma, and so on. I could spend literally hours detailing all of the ways that we're able to experience and even interact with death in video games. Given all of these examples, and any that you're able to think of yourself, I want to move on and begin trying to understand the relationship between death and gaming. And now let us begin by asking one simple question. So what is the relationship between gaming and death? I'd say the relationship between death and gaming is a rather superficial one. Death in a game is always a temporary thing. The swaths of bandits, monsters or any other variety of enemy that you dispatch will simply be replaced with identical versions of themselves with all of the same voice lines, the same character models and the same AI behaviours that they had before you dispatched them. This respawn mechanic has even become a part of the meta playstyle of certain games. My wife plays a lot of MMORPGs, mostly old school RuneScape, and she often talks to me about spawns, spawn locations and spawn rates. This refers to the virtual locations that defeated foes will reappear in, how often they reappear, and what enemies appear when, where and how often. Even if you're playing a game with unique combatants, they will still regain their lives whenever you, or anyone else, decides to start a new playthrough. This can be seen within the Telltale Walking Dead games, with the heavily scripted nature of the game meaning that almost, if not every enemy in the game is unique. Despite this, whenever you decide to start a new playthrough of the story, these previously dispatched characters will be brought back to life, waiting to die all over again. Even when you, the player, die, it's little more than a hindrance that's simply solved with a quick reload, restoring you to a previous position. Ultimately, you've lost nothing more than time. Some games attempt to take death more seriously, with Iron Man or hardcore modes deleting save data upon death. Even with these, however, death is no more than a setback to a determined player. It's never an eternal end like it is in real life. XCOM Enemy Unknown features one of these permadeath modes, which it calls Iron Man mode. If any of your characters die, then they remain dead, with no way to reload an earlier save to bring them back to life. Still, there's nothing stopping you from starting a new game and simply creating the same character again using the character customization tools. This means that while the game does what it can to stop players from reviving fallen characters, it can only do so much, and a determined player will always be able to revive a fallen character. It is worth mentioning that I don't think any game should have death act as permanent or devastating as it is in real life. Nobody would enjoy a game that permanently denied you a chance to replay it after your character died. Being able to reload, respawn and restart games is a natural part of what makes them so good. It's not just gaming that has this relationship with death either. This superficial relationship with death is shared between all forms of storytelling. We can simply stop reading The Lord of the Rings after the first book and Boromir will never die. As long as you never watch Alien 3, then Newt and Hicks will avoid their fates. Even if you do read The Two Towers or watch Alien 3, then you can simply undo the deaths of Boromir, Hicks and Newt by simply re-watching or rereading the previous story. This is just the nature of fiction. Maybe this is even why fiction is so naturally popular. What makes this sense of control somewhat more prevalent within video games over other mediums is the fact that you directly play games. Whereas you watch Ellen Ripley survive her many encounters with the XX-121 xenomorph within the original 1979 Alien film, you survive the Sevastopol station as Amanda Ripley in Alien Isolation. This means that if Amanda gets caught and impaled on the tail of the XX-121 xenomorph, that's directly because of an action, or more likely mistake, that you as the player made. Likewise, when you reload your save file and Amanda comes back to life, it's you that loaded the game, that pulled her back from the temporary setback that was death in a video game. Games are all about control, about putting you as the player within a situation, a story, a world, and letting you explore it. It only makes sense that this control applies as much to death as it does any other aspect of them. In this sense, games are very unlike reality. Whereas death is random, chaotic, and very permanent in real life, in video games we have control over it, and that feels good. However, what this nature creates is a world where death can't ever carry the same weight as it does in real life. Even when characters have a canonical death within a long-running series, you can simply replay the earlier games to spend more time with them. This isn't a choice we have when death takes away our loved ones in real life. I can't spend any more time with my aunt, with my grandparents, or with my friend that have all passed away by simply loading up a memory of them. They are gone in a way that is far more permanent than any video game or any fictional narrative of any medium can ever allow for. Boromir, like Albert Wesker, may have canonical deaths, but whenever you start the story again, they are still waiting for you, alive and well. But there is a part of gaming where I feel the uncomfortable permanence of death. That cold, uneasy shadow that we are all familiar with. That horrible knowledge that you and everyone you know and love will one day end. Games preservation is something I've been invested in since I was a teenager. Yet I know that this is a task that's doomed to fail. Despite all of the love, care and protection that I give my retro games, the disc will simply begin to rot one day. The data will slowly become unreadable to the very consoles designed to play them. The consoles themselves will become rarer as each one lost to neglect, simple wear and tear, or just the destructive nature of time itself will not be replaced. While fans like myself will do what we can, eventually even the parts will stop being produced, and then the consoles will, over time, just simply stop working. I mean, come on, let's think about this. The best case scenario here, the absolute best, is that these parts continue to be produced, but even then, eventually the people doing the repairs will die. And after that, the consoles and games will end up being thrown away, donated, or left to decay in some storage box somewhere. Collectors like me will try to preserve the games, consoles and media that we love, yet we know we're doomed to fail. All of my games will eventually be lost to time. This is why I feel that uncomfortable shadow of death within my beloved games collection. My goal of preservation is as temporary as life itself is, and once my games and consoles do decay, their death will be permanent. After all, let's just consider one simple question here. How many games have already been lost to time? Just visit any abandonware website and spend a few minutes shifting through the hundreds of games there, and then realise that these are the few games that were lucky enough to be preserved on a site like this. Even games from beloved franchises with millions of fans have games that have been lost to the sands of time. I want to give you an example of just such a game, so allow me to introduce to you Resident Evil Degeneration. Resident Evil Degeneration was an iOS tie-in game for the Resident Evil film of the same name. If you like, pause this video right now and try downloading Resident Evil Degeneration. You can't. It's been delisted from the App Store. I didn't have an iPhone when Resident Evil Degeneration hit the App Store, so I missed it. Now, one thing you need to understand about me is that I have an obsession with Resident Evil that's only possible thanks to a combination of ADHD and autism. I have played literally every Resident Evil game besides this one. I've played the unfinished Game Boy Color port of Resident Evil 1. I've played the Java port of the 2002 Resident Evil remake. I've played both the Android and the iOS versions of Resident Evil 4. Most of these are games that the average gamer doesn't even know ever existed. I've played all of them in the course of my obsession with this amazing series. Yep, the closest I can get to playing Resident Evil Degeneration is an Internet Archive capture of an old games preservation website with a link that no longer works. It really breaks my heart to say this, but the iOS Resident Evil Degeneration game is dead. This is a game from a series with at least 10 million fans based on the sales of the last game. If this death can happen to a game from the Resident Evil franchise, then there must be millions of games that have been long forgotten. Games coded in the bedrooms of nerds for the Commodore 64 or the Amiga 500 computers, all now dead and forgotten. Hell, we don't even know their names anymore. This same fate will befall all of the games that you love. From Elden Ring to Skyrim, from Paralives to The Sims 4, from Tomb Raider to Uncharted. All will be forgotten. Games preservation and collecting is a reminder to me that I, and everyone and everything I love, will one day end. This has all been very depressing so far, and it brings me back to an old question, one that I've found myself asking myself a lot over the course of my life. If life is so temporary, if everything I do, no matter how great, how grand, will simply one day be forgotten, completely lost to the cruel nature of time and decay, then why bother doing anything? The answer that I've come to is simple, really. It's because I enjoy doing it all. Don't let the simple nature of this reason distract you from how powerful it is, though. I don't believe in a god or gods. I don't think there's an afterlife, and I don't think there is any real, definitive reason that we're here. At least from what I can make of it, this is all just random coincidence. Yet, I do believe there is a purpose to our lives. Now, it's not one given to us by a creator nor by the universe itself. It's one that we give to ourselves. I don't know what your reasons for living are, but I can tell you what mine are. My wife is one of my reasons for living. Just getting to cuddle up to her each night is something that I'm so grateful for that if I had the rest of time itself, I couldn't express it. I love her so much that it's honestly unbearable at times. And then I have my family. They're amazing, and I will happily live for them, because when I think about all that we've been through together, it makes my chest feel all warm and happy inside. But they're not the only reasons I have for living. My games collection, as well as the collection of merch and other related material, is another one. Sure, these games will one day be dust, long forgotten by anyone currently alive. But right now, I love them, I love playing them, I love writing about them, I love talking about them, and I love just looking at them on my shelves. They bring me joy. And then I have my writing. I love stories. I'm studying English literature because I love stories. I write stories because I love stories. I play stories because I love stories. I watch stories because I love stories. I read stories because I love stories. I love stories. And I want to bring my own fictional world to life. And then I want to share that fictional world with as many people as possible. Life is hard. It's random, chaotic, and very often not in our control. There is no purpose to life. No one thing that will bring you joy. To steal a term from gaming, life is the ultimate sandbox. You must find your own reasons to live, but when you do, there is so much power and joy in it. There is no wrong reason to live. Life can have purpose because you like collecting coins, or just that feeling of relaxation when you get into a nice hot bath at the end of a hard day's work. Hell, wanting to see how the next MCU film pans out is a mighty good reason to live, in my opinion. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing Avengers Doomsday. So go on out there and live your life. Collect those coins, enjoy that booty call, rewatch that film, book that trip to Spain, or do whatever else it is that gives your life purpose. As for me, I'm gonna continue collecting my games. I'm gonna continue writing my stories and loving my wife and family, because those are my reasons to live. I'm aware that my life's purpose isn't grand. It's not going to see me exploring the world or changing the course of history, and I very much doubt I'll be remembered past those that I personally interact with after my death. Despite that, I know that I'm happy now in a way that I've never been before. I still have bad days. Life can still be hard and it very often feels unfair, but I have a home filled with love, I have a family to support me, and I have my passions to chase now. My life has purpose, and that makes it very much worth living. Despite the shadow of death, the knowledge that one day I will end. And I hope that you're able to reflect on your own life and feel the same way. And if you can't, I hope that you manage to go out there and find a purpose for your life, whatever that may be. I'm going off script here because I've run out of script. Technically the essay's finished. Whatever your life's purpose is, it doesn't need to be grand. Like I say, collecting coins can be a purpose to live. Hell, it's an important purpose to live. We know a lot about Roman society and history because they preserved information on their coins. Coin collectors will be the people that do that for the time that we're in now. Future archaeologists will be so thankful that you spent your life collecting coins, because you will have brought a bunch of useful information into one place for it to be preserved. That's valuable. So there's no dumb reason to live. There's really not. There's just so many reasons to live. I genuinely want people to find a purpose to live. Now, this may be a purpose that I personally, saying I don't agree with it, it's kind of the wrong terms, but I don't personally understand. It's not something that resonates with me. That's a good way to put it. Faith, for a very good reason. As I mentioned in the scripted part of this video, I'm not religious. I don't believe in a god or gods or any sort of deities. Whatever it is about your faith that makes you feel complete, then take that. Fucking take that and run with it. Don't be a dick about it. Don't go after other people because they believe in different gods or no gods. You know, live and let live with it. But hell, take it into your own heart. You do you, you know? Live. Be happy, live. Oh my god, live. It's we only get one of these lives, but they're great. They really are. You can collect rubber ducks. I've started collecting rubber ducks. And like, oh my god, these little squeaky bastards are adorable. They don't squeak. I don't know why I said they're squeaky. I feel like they should squeak. Go out there and be happy and live. Live to collect stamps. Live to go train spying. Live to explore the world. Go to Greece. Hey, if you go to Greece, I've been studying recently in my uni course about Delphi. Oh my god, it looks cool. I'd love to visit there if I had the money and didn't have agoraphobia. So that's the problem with agoraphobia. It makes going outside difficult. That is literally the definition of it. But if I didn't have the issues I have, I would love to visit Delphi and the fucking Colosseum and the Parthenon, and oh my god, there's so many cool places. The problem with all of these places is they're filled with people, and I don't like strangers. They freak me out. I get agoraphobic. Oh my god. I like to be inside work and control things. I truly want you to be happy. I'd want as many people as possible to be happy. By the way, there is an exception. Do what makes you happy. Be a fucking hedonist, as long as it doesn't impact on the happiness and safety of others. Right? Safe, sane, consensual. That's important to everything in life. Be happy. Find connection with that person, or be on your own and be happy on your own. I mean, fuck it. I've never really had a problem with loneliness, if I'm honest. I quite like my own company. I mean, somebody fucking has to. But anyway, yeah. I've pretty much doubled the length of this video. I'm going to have to edit this rant down, but the long and skinny of it is find what makes you happy and chase it, babe. Fucking go out there. And one thing that would make you happy is giving this video a thumbs up, commenting some bollocks for engagement, and then subscribing. Because if this video does well, I might make more. This was adapted from an essay I wrote on my website, which nobody reads, because why would they? Who reads websites anymore? I just write them because they're in my head and I need to get them out. But it was adapted from one of them articles, so I've got more. I could easily adapt them, and fuck it, I've got more in me. So yeah, I might start making video essays if this one does well. So yeah, thumbs up, comment, subscribe. It'll make you happy. That's a reason to live, baby. Subscribing to my YouTube channel. Yes, I'm that vain. I'm not really. Or am I? We'll figure out. Anyway, do all that stuff. Have a good one. Bye-bye, and I love you. Now go to bed. Oh my god, it's like 3 a.m.